Alright, for MOS4 Finals, we have Tommy playing BAPK versus Russell playing Toadally Frogzoic, whatever you want to call it. So on the left side, we have Tommy piloting Burning Abyss Phantom Knights using the Ghost Reaper mat versus Russell on the right side using the Ghost Ogre mat. So purple versus red. Both these players have played at least 10 hours of Yu Gi Oh now, and this is the finals. And both players have made it very far. Tommy playing very well with his special tech of Ghost Reaper. So very fitting that he is on the left side. And Russell is a very amazing player at this event. Like, holy crap. Basically, he went undefeated until the very last round of Swiss, therefore guaranteeing his spot in Top Cut. And not only that, he managed to defeat his two opponents in Top Cut, making him to the finals. Now, one interesting fact about the matchup is that Tommy and Russell have played against each other previously. Now, because they played against each other previously, Russell was the one that won the round in Swiss. So now it's like Tommy's redemption match. Now, one interesting thing about Paleozoic cards in TCG versus OCG is that for the first time, may not be the first time, but for once, the TCG release of the cards have the correct ruling, and OCG actually had to do an errata on their own cards. So the effect of the Paleozoic activating in the graveyard, that is actually mandatory. Sorry guys, I'm a bit sick, so I guess they're gonna go into the die roll right now. So Russell starts off with a 9. Tommy rolls a 2, so there's no point continue rolling since the highest number he can get is an 8. Alrighty. Wow, Russell opens pretty good. Opens with a Swap Frog. Swap Frog will activate, sending the Ronin Totem into the graveyard. Most likely Ronin Totem. I can't imagine him sending anything else. He does have 3 cards that he can set and a card of Demise, which just basically nets him an initial +2. So he's gonna play card of Demise. What a great opening from Russell. And then, what's that? Anti-Spell Fragrance, and I guess he didn't really get a plus because he had to discard 2 cards, so losing his barrier statue. Yeah, he does mainboard the barrier statue to stun out all the other decks. Barrier statue combined with the frog is a very annoying combo. Oh, gets Ghost Cherried right away. What is he gonna lose? I was revealing the Totally Awesome, therefore Totally Awesome triple banish right then and there. No more Totally Awesome for Russell to use. And of course, Ghost Reaper, you get to inspect his extra deck. This extra knowledge is going to be huge on figuring out how Russell will play against Tommy, and how Tommy's gonna try to counter. And he also got a Terror Top. In other words, usually when you play Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries, you lose a bit of tempo because you lost 1 card. But opening with Terror Top, you got a free +1 and getting into that free Dante. However, free Dante is not exactly free because all the Paleozoic traps are quite scary. I'm gonna try not to butcher all their names because they do have very long names. And Paleozoics basically are trap monsters that contain the effects of other cards in Yu Gi Oh. And let's hope I don't mix up their effects. Alright, so again, I'm probably gonna go into the very first Dante here, with the Takitomborg overlaying with the Terror Top. There's the Dante in attack mode. Summon of Dante is fine. Detach Terror Top to mill 3 cards. Oh, Terror. Oh, what a. Oh, okay. Fogblade, not that great. None of those are good mills. Losing that Twin Twister definitely does hurt quite a bit because he's still under anti-spell. If Tommy has any kind of spell card. Oh, he has a Foolish Barrier that he can't use right now. In other words, that anti-spell is, shortening down Tommy's plays for the turn. Now, Swap Frog. Swap Frog's stat line is pretty low. Dante can easily run it over. Well, yeah, confirming the effects of Swap Frog. Swap Frog does have quite a few effects after all. Gives you that additional summon of a frog when you bounce it back. Or not, doesn't have to bound itself back, just has to bound to another, I believe another water aqua. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then when it's summoned, it dumps. Of course, you can also discard a water monster to special summon himself out. So it's, you know, tons of effects. But what is Tommy going to do with the Foolish Burial stuck in hand, the Dante with the triple back row? Like, the Paleozoic back row ranges from, like, a Book of Moon from Canadia. You have a Dino-Mischis, which is banish a face-up card by discarding cards. So similar to a Karma Cut that can hit both. Oh, so it's going straight into the Beatrice. Oh, we put a Tree Toad back into the graveyard by using the Choilia. I'm just gonna call it Leanne. You know what? Leanne. You know, they would just shorten all their names so it's not as hard to pronounce. Okay, well then. Scarm set 2 and Scarm effect. Oh, end phase. Activate Legacy Yatagarasu, triggering the Leanne. Basically triggering Leanne in the graveyard, so Leanne will come out onto the field. Now we are running Final Cut by Judge right now, so this is the finals after all. Standby phase. Tommy uses his Dimensional Barrier in Cosmic Seas. So bounce him back and summon him again. So effect of Swap Frog once again, touching another Rodent Toadin. The second Rodent Toadin is pretty crucial because, you know, you can use 2 toads to make Totally awesome. A Beatrice, however, is, I don't know, can be quite threatening. Well, it doesn't have to be threatening. Because, oh, banishing the Dupe Frog into summoning out the Rodent Toadin. There is no Totally Awesome because they're all banished. I guess Russell's just building up his wall so that it's impossible for Tommy to deal much damage against him. And pass his turn. Okay, Beatrice will activate, detaching the Dante. There we go. See, the Beatrice did not get her effect off because Tommy earlier in the turn called XYZs, so the Beatrice is negated. Therefore, the Dante will get the effect because it only affects stuff on the field. So Dante will get the search, sorry, not search, but the return of a card, and then Beatrice basically ends it there. Normal Summon Tour Guide. Okay, so Tour Guide has been summoned, probably summoning out a Graph or a Scarm. Potentially even a Seer. Now, one thing about Paleozoic that's very annoying for the BA player is that they're unaffected by monster effects, which makes all the Farfas in the deck pretty useless. Especially when it comes to interrupting play, because usually Farfa is used to interrupt the play rather than to get rid of the problem monster itself, since the monster comes back. So it's about establishing more tempo with the Farfa. Now with Paleozoic, it's a lot more difficult. You can only do it to the frogs. So in other words, there's that huge window of opportunity that you will never hit. So going with the Seer summon from the Tour Guide. We're going to overlay the two, probably into another Dante. So it is going to be a Dante. Activates the Foolish Burial that he set previously, thanks to the effect of Anti-Spell. He had no choice but to set it. Okay, what is he going to send to the graveyard? Maybe a Graph? No, definitely not Graph. Graph is kind of pointless, so sending him the boots. Fogblade is a pretty good choice to negate any of the Paleozoic cards, because at least it can actually affect it. If he does overlay into the Paleozoic boss monster, the 2400 dude, what's his name? Anomalocaris? Okay, Calcab spins a card back into Russell's hand. Probably one of his Paleozoics. There is a 25 Dante on the field, so banish the Fog Blade to summon out the Boots. Special summon Boots, going into another overlay. Well, he's really just trying to push through this here. Going into a Break Sword. Break Sword pops the anti-spell and popping himself, summoning up both Boots back out. Oh, maybe he's actually going to be able to push for some damage here. Oh, is that Twin Twister? Popping the remaining back row. Oh, Chain Waboku! And the loss of a card in Demise is actually kind of big because Russell could have recovered quite a bit of cards with that. But the Waboku will keep everything alive and there'll be no damage taken. Oh, and Tommy is in the middle of using his XYZ on his double Boots. Russell has one card in it. So, okay, there's a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Now, he's going to attack with the Dante just to put it in defense mode. Because you don't want to leave that in attack mode, of course. So, no damage dealt here. It's very interesting because Tommy did in the very early stages of the game kind of change up the tempo against Russell because Russell cannot go into any Totally Awesome. So, it's up to Russell's skill of piloting his frogs and Paleozoics to take him to victory. Now, I do remember in the previous game that they played against each other, Tommy struggled to do damage to Russell, and this is clearly exactly what's going on. Waboku is like one of the oldest cards in the game, but let's just say this card is always relevant when it comes to keeping monsters on board. So Swap Frog bounces himself back, summons out the Swap Frog once again, just putting in more stuff. Now, Russell has to be very careful because he can't just go into the boss monster. What's his name? I just gotta read his name right because it's Paleozoic Anomalocaris. This guy requires 3 materials to actually make, so it's not something you can go into immediately. And there's also the other monster you can try and make, which is Opabina. Opabina basically turns gives him the ability to use Makura, so he can activate trap cards, Paleozoic trap cards from the hand, which is pretty awesome. And of course, you can detach and search. Now, is he actually going to go overlay? If he's going into 3, there's only one guy I can imagine he's going into, and it's here he comes. Paleozoic Anomalocaris. Sorry for my mispronunciation. I'm quite sick after all. But I am going to deliver this game to you guys. Now, he actually committed all his monsters to doing this, but of course he has the once per turn during either player's turn. If he does have a trap material attached to him, he can detach one to pop a card on the field. So he killed the Break Sword. Killed off, not the Break Sword, but like the monster that came from Break Sword, the Xyz Rebellion Dragon. But his stat line is not higher than Beatrice, so you know that there's also that going. Maybe Russell has something he's prepared for. Sets 2. Perhaps he might have a Dimischius. That's only if he has a card in hand. Okay, pass his turn. After he puts out a Rolling Toadin onto the field by banishing out the Swamp Frog. I can't really tell who has more advantage at this stage in the game. No one's really been doing damage to each other. So 4 cards on Russell's side and 3 cards for Tommy. So detach for the Beatrice. He could establish a bit more advantage. The Firefly was still going to be pretty useless unless you're trying to push for a bit more damage through the Ronin Toadin. But the 2 back row in Russell's side is actually quite scary. You just don't want to run into the wrong trap. Like if he runs into a Canadia, he'll get basically Book of Moon on one of his monsters. No, okay, so sending in the cloak, so he's gonna go with the advantage play. But they could also be bluffs. Like if it's a Picaya or a Morella, then they're pretty much bluffs. Hallucigenia might even buy him like an extra hit. and kill off one of his monsters, but maybe that's exactly what he wants. So yes, searching off a Fog Blade from the Phantom Knight boots. So just giving a quick cut, going to Oscar for the final cut. Dante effect, detached to mill 3. There's the gloves, there's a barrier, and there's Allure of Darkness, not the most ideal mills. Tommy just really wants to push for damage right now. But he can't rush into things. I think they know each other's deck too well now because they have played each other in Swiss. So there is that extra bit of knowledge from past experience. So Beatrice is going to attack, but he wants to hit it, and even if it fails, it's okay. Oh no, gets... Oh, that's the worst Mirror Force to get hit by as a BA player. Oh boy, he got hit by a quaking Mirror Force. That Beatrice is permanently phased down now. It's not even a problem for Russell to take it out. He's probably not going to take it out, so because all the BAs are basically dead. And Farfa can't put stuff away on the field, so... That is it. Okay, of course, Russell previously did use the effect of Anomalocaris to excavate a card, and it was a trap, so he got to add it to his hand. There are 2 cards in Russell's hand. He has a Didomiscus, which is the banish 1. So in other words, he can actually just banish off some face-up cards if he needs to. You know, the lineup of traps for Paleozoics is actually very scary because it's so versatile. It pretty much covers all situations. The only problem it has is it has to target stuff, which makes Metrospectre Kieran a problem card to deal with. So double Toad right now, but no Totally Awesome, so he's going to go into something else for sure. He is going into, I think that's a Sky, is that a Sky Cavalry? I think it is a Sky Cavalry. It's a Sky Cavalry, I think. Yeah, there's the Sky Cavalry. So Sky Cavalry can put away the Dante. He can swing into it. He could probably take himself a bit of damage, but it's okay. The monster will be bounced back. And it's basically free because that Rodent Totem is a free monster. Okay, so we are going to see the summoning of a gloves. Normal summoning of a cherries. Cherries is a tuner, so he's gonna probably plan on synchroing something. Oh no! So he discarded out the Canadia as the effect, and excavated a Legacy of Yadagarasu. Like, so much advantage going to Russell right now. With a tuner without a monster to tune it with, it's just gonna suck for Tommy right now, because he's stuck in a situation where he has a 0 attack monster on the field. He's going to go into the deck again by banishing his boots to search off another Fog Blade. Maybe he'll protect himself, maybe he won't. But the biggest problem is he can't tune with that with BA monsters, and I think he tried to Virgil away a card, but I don't think that's working right now. Virgil's stat line is higher than Anomalocaris, so you can kill some stuff off and probably get rid of the Sky Cavalry. But the back row is so real for Russell. It's been putting in so much work. And this is he's also playing without the Toad, so that's also another thing to consider. It's pretty impressive of how he's holding the board. So he's using a Pacaya to discard and draw 2. Of course, he's chaining the Canadia. You can only chain 1 because you can only chain trap card activation, not trap effect, so they don't stack. But if you do activate another trap, another one will activate as well. So he's entering the battle phase. I don't think he's going to swing into that. Yeah, he's probably not swinging into that Beatrice. What is he possibly considering? Like, the obvious maximum damage at this very moment is a nominal Karis. I think he's wondering if he should bounce back to Beatrice. Bouncing back to Beatrice isn't that bad either. Okay, so yeah, the 24 is definitely trying to go through right now. Oh, Fogblade, you cannot target. Oh, but no, that is a problem. That, because the attack was already declared, chaining Fogblade onto the attack doesn't do anything. We have to do a bit of confirmation in the effect here. It only prevents the targeting of the attack, but the attack declaration has already been declared, so the attack will continue to go through that Fogblade. I guess Tommy is probably getting tired right now. Probably something that he must have overlooked a little. So yeah, we're just having judges confirm the effect of Fogblade. Just reading the text basically, and it prevents the targeting of the card, but since the targeting already happened, it doesn't change anything. So Opabinia has been summoned onto the field to the two traps, which basically gives Russell free access, rotas, once per turn basically, to dig out. Is he going to dig out any of his Paleozoic trap cards? So he's going to be adding himself a Canadia, which is the Book of Moon. Two back row and end his turn. Draw phase for Tommy. Tommy is a bit stuck with that Beatrice. That Beatrice is just in the way. If he has BA monsters, he can't do anything. He doesn't have Fogblade in the graveyard, so he could technically well, he could technically summon out another Phantom Knight monster. Sets one and passes turn. Oh, there's a Waboku in Russell's back row, so it's gonna be kind of scary. Oh, is he gonna end phase? Is he gonna end phase pop a card? Luckily, there's no artifacts or anything, but that seriously doesn't look good for Tommy. Detaches and pops a back row. Back row has been popped. It was a dimensional barrier. Draws return. Oh boy. He has every single trap he would need for the rest of the game. With a Canadia, a Dino, and another search right now, he basically has his full arsenal available. So even if he does clear off that Beatrice, it should be game. So he's gonna get a second Canadia. So there's just way too much interruption versus Tommy right now. He won't be able to establish any XYZs. So he's a monster banish and two Book of Moons. Yeah, let's just say against any deck, you're not going to be able to make much from the extra deck. So it activates the Legacy of Yaga Grouse to draw a card, and then triggering out the Canadia in the graveyard that summons itself out. Trap was activated, gets free excavation, he adds himself a Quaking Mirror Force. So in other words, he's playing with a full hand versus Tommy's 2-card hand, and very well played by Russell right here. Oh yes, of course he has Opabinia still there. Nope, Tommy just scoops this one up because there's no way that he'll recover from such a huge card deficit. Now, Tommy is choosing to go first in this game. Maybe Ghost Cherries won't be as good this game because if he does open with it, he won't be able to do anything with it right away. Well, very well played by Russell, losing out all his totally awesomes, managing to do a full recovery. Now, Tommy opening with the Terror Top, giving him a free plus into the very first free to Dante. Here we go. Okay, there's the Taketomborg. Taketomborg is going in. So it's pretty much just going to be a Dante. Dante is going to mill 3 cards. Is he going to get a really good mill? Let's hope so. He needs it more than ever. Barrier, Allure, and that is the worst possible mill he could have ever wished for. Probably should have played that Foolish Burial to shuffle up his deck. But you can't judge fate. That's what fate has determined. That's what Solemn has called, and that's exactly what he got. So he goes in the cloak and the boots. Probably has something to summon out more stuff. More cutting. More stuff happening, because he's going to play an Allure of Darkness, so the cutting is done by the judge. And here we go. 1, 2. Well, he does have boots in his hand, so it's alright. So he's banishing the boots specifically. Setting 2 cards and passes turn. Russell is like eager to finish him off like as soon as he can. Sets 1 card and 4 back row. Wow. Very defensive. Tommy has to be a bit more careful to run into this stuff. This is why people started to run Jinzo. Because Jinzo not only shuts off like the ones on the back row, but it also prevents the one in the graveyards from going off because it can't activate a single trap. Oh, slight knock on the extra deck, but nope, nothing too major. Okay, there's a Raigeki in Tommy's side. Raigeki is actually a really good card against Paleozoics. Because the Paleozoics that come out of the graveyard, if they die, they get banished. And the only way they can die is by spell and trap effects, if you want to pop it without battling. Okay, well, he banished off the gloves to send a cloak into the grave. Sending the cloak away, back to the banish pile. And he's going to just search. Searching off the boots. Not bad. Raigeki is going to be very useful. However, there is a dupe frog on Russell's side. That face down is a dupe frog. Oh, discard. Basically sending the Scarm to the graveyard to turn it into a Beatrice. Beatrice now gets Book of Moon by Paleozoic Canadia, which sets up the very first Paleozoic in the grave. Boots has been activated at the Fog Blade. Scarm effect. Scarm will be searching a tour guide that has to be a tour guide. It's too shiny. It's a tour guide. Pass his turn. No damage whatsoever. Oh, someone hit the camera. Okay, we're still in the game. People are starting to surround these tables, so pressure's on. Oh, card of demise. Draw 2 cards. Gets rid of his Gameciel. I'm a bit surprised. Alright, Tommy's turn. He draws return, and I guess he has to make very careful plays not to run into the wrong back row. It's really hard to think about it. It's like 5 back row, anything could change the flow of the game. It's about who comes out on top at the end of using all those cards. So Tommy is going to go summon the tour guide that he searched previously, and I'm guessing using the effect. Russell is about to chain another card. No, he does not chain. He lets the tour guide go through. Perhaps he has something else up his sleeves. Okay, someone's out of Farfa. Farfa is not the most useful card, but in this situation, it could be pretty useful. Because there isn't any Paleozoic on the field. Overlay. So he's going to overlay into another Dante, perhaps. Yeah, he's definitely looking at that Dante. No, I don't think Tommy knows what's the face down so far. Okay, so yeah, it's going into Dante. He's probably gonna get another mill. If he can. Activates to detach and mill 3 cards. Soul charge? Oh, that sucks. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tommy. Now your deck is not listening to you. It's giving you the worst mills possible at the worst crucial time. You know, this is the finals, and you're 1 game behind. You can't mill like that. Oh no. Dante is now at 1250 thanks to Hallucigenia, and that also revived the Canadia in the graveyard. So until the end of the turn, that Dante is at 1250, which can still run over the Canadia. Is he going to attack? He is going to attack. And he's attacking right into a Quaking Mirror Force. That Dante is stuck. And with the Hallucigenia is now on the field as well. This game does have Toads live, and with 2 cards on the field on both ends, he cannot cherry out the Toad this time. But is Russell actually going to go for the Toad instead of doing perhaps more beneficial plays? I don't know, because I don't know the deck very well. There's a Bakaya on Russell's side of the field, so Russell now puts his guy in defense mode and passes turn. I think he realizes that it's very difficult for Tommy to summon out anything with the permanently face down Dante. So Russell basically just has like about endless fuel of Book of Moons and Swords of Concealing Light and everything. Oh yes, and we almost forgot that the face down card does come back from Farfa. Now, if you think about things that Russell would set, either he sets a bluff Frog, or he can set Ronin Totem or dupe Frog, all of which are pretty high defense, except for the bluff, of course. Now, in finals, there is no time, so they can take as long as they want to make their plays, but just don't slow play. Judges are on the table. Oh, Twin Twister is hitting 2 back row. He hits a Pakaya, and I didn't see the second card, but the discarded card was the Phantom Knight Boots. So flip summon of the Beatrice. Detach the Dante to send another card into the graveyard. And is there anything he can actually retrieve? I'm sure he might have something to retrieve with that Dante. And with only 1 back row, he's bouncing. Oh my god. The Beatrice just got banished by the Paleozoic Mistress. Russell was really prepared for this, leaving his whole board. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Really well timed Raigeki. So 3 of his Paleozoics get banished. Russell is top decking. But Tommy is stuck with a face down Dante. It's about who can put out his monsters first, and I would say Russell is in a pretty tight spot right now. He just drew into a I believe that's Olenoides. Did Tommy save up a bunch of resources ahead of time in this graveyard? No, so now that he can use it and explode all over to Russell?
Any life damage? No. Surprisingly. Your Dante's in the way. Sure.
Okay, 12 damage. Alright, 12 damage finally goes through. Speedroid Terror Top attacks. Draw for turn. Russell sets a Quaking Mirror Force, previously known as a Sandstorm Mirror Force, at Rude. Oh, the Mischief comes out.
Just him.
Goes into the Maxi to draw a card. Okay, well it's better than nothing. The Maxi's pretty dead. 2 permanently face down cards. Russell is not going in. He's holding his defenses. Is Tommy unable to actually make a monster on board? Because this is very... summons on a Maxi just to kill it. Well, it's banished. It's gone for good. This is the strangest finals I've seen so far. Now we've basically seen everything at the tournament. Okay. Oh man, that's probably one of the best traps ever. Paleozoic Leoncholia. That's the one that basically puts one of his banished cards back into the graveyard, and then he can send that into the graveyard, which is okay. Now he activates a trap, and he gets to summon out his Leoncholia now. So in other words, he just killed a D-Berry for no reason, because the D-Berry obviously doesn't do any, doesn't do anything right now. But this prevents the Maxi from doing damage, and the Maxi's gonna die. Entering battle phase. Don't activate Fog Blade. You already messed that up last time. So yeah, the Maxi dies. So I guess that's 700 damage. Okay, well, draw for turn. 2 stun cards on the field, so those monsters basically don't exist. And Phase Jar agreed, summoning out the other Paleozoic. Draw again. Oh my god, now he has access to Totally Awesome. Overlay the 2. Totally Awesome has been summoned. The first Totally Awesome ever. Oh my god, that took forever for one of these things out. Like it is really hard to actually bring it out, especially with Tommy like stunning properly and use the Raigeki at the right timing, which prevented the whole thing from even happening. He's going to Fog Blade. I'm not sure if that's a good idea with that Toad on the field. He allows it because it doesn't exactly do enough, and now he's gonna pop the Fog Blade with his Paleozoic Olenodes. He's gonna Fog Blade again. Now we got an interesting chain link. It's a new trap card, so another card will be chained onto because they are trigger cards, so it's gonna happen. It's not optional. It's a mandatory trigger. Now we have noticed a slight procedural error here where the Olenode is activated. The trigger effect of Mischief should have activated right after that, and then there's a Fog Blade that's going on top of the Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is now chaining on top of that Fog Blade. Let's figure out this chain link here. This chain link is a little bit messed up because there was the mandatory chain that should have happened beforehand, but it actually doesn't affect this chain link very much. Now there is a Fog Blade on Russell's side. Normal summon Cowcap. No, that's Libic. Libic dies. Summons out the Scarm. Scarm's about to... Well, Scarm's gonna stay on the field because it is negated. Summoning out the boots. Boots can overlay with that Scarm. Right now the grind is so real for Tommy. He has to go through a gauntlet of traps, trap monsters, frogs, and toads just to deal very little damage to Russell. And not only that, he's already burned through his Beatrice, he's burned through multiple Dantes. It's gonna be a very hard battle. And yeah, it's Book of Moon. Oh no. Russell has fully established his board again, and with the back row not being too relevant, I think this is going to be a downhill. It's going downhill for Tommy now. Yes, and the Fog Blade is now live, so Russell definitely has all his toads available to him, like totally awesome. He can even make a Anomalocaris. He basically has access to everything to basically shut out every single card on the board. Normal summon Swamp Frog. Oh, he's gonna set up the graveyard too with a Rodent Totem. And there's a Dupe Frog in there, so there's guaranteed a free summon of Rodent Totem. In other words, there's going to be a free Totally Awesome if this is not stopped. And Tommy scoops this one up. Russell takes MOS4. Congratulations to both these players. I know it's a very, very tough call in the tournament. Like, playing so well in the game 1 being shut out of all your Totally Awesome, but playing the Paleozoics pretty flawlessly. And then this game was just another spectacle of how you recovered from that really, really devastating Raigeki. So congratulations, Russell. And also congratulations to you, Tommy, for making it this far with Burning Abyss Phantom Knights. Very impressive gaming. And if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up to check out their deck profiles, which are coming up very shortly. And for the Swiss friends, we got some pretty interesting matchups that you probably want to know because a lot of them are pretty meta matchups. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more stuff like the stuff I mentioned before, please hit the subscribe button. And as always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.